there's one set of bagging for IG likes and tagging. Yeah, but when I start bagging, beep, zoom. And why you running?
Check. We back at it again. Another Monday for y'all here at Rise Radio. We back. It's your girl Nikki Anticss with another episode of DocuDJ, highlighting and getting in depth with your favorite DJ, of course. And, you know, just learning about their journey as a disc jockey. So, you know, once again, always want to big up the viewers, all you guys for tuning in and, you know, just liking, subscribing, commenting, whatever you do, and just appreciating the platform, you know. I appreciate you guys. Something else is, I just want to say, if you haven't seen any past episodes, please click the YouTube link in my bio and go watch all those episodes. They're there. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And once again, I want to big up the Rise Radio team for having me every Monday. Big up yourself. Appreciate you guys. So we going to get into it. No long talking. I have we are better than them by far. By far. I got big DJ, entrepreneur, creative director, curator. You got a lot of hats, brother. You got a lot of hats. Businessman. Just the ultimate, by far, mega in the place.
Yeah, man. What's up?
Yeah, we here. Yo, first of all, I want to say that this is long overdue.
Yeah, very much so.
And not even the interviews, that. It's just us working. It's literally, I can say from last summer, we've been plotting.
Yeah, we have things in the works that's like.
We have things in the works, but just know that we did this interview already. And
yeah, we did this interview like months ago, and for whatever reason, what happened with it?
With my footage got deleted. And I'm just like, it would happen to me and him because, as I said, y'all don't even know. Every time something happens, like, it's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like,
if I could say really quickly, like, the one time we was doing our, you know, we was gonna do an interview series called Dear Creatives.
Right.
We was trying to find the best format to like do it in. And we was like, you know, let's do it on, what was it, FaceTime or Instagram Live?
It was Instagram Live, I think.
It was Instagram Live and we decided to do it, right? And we did something and we recorded it and like the audio didn't upload or something like that. It was like something crazy.
We did like a whole like 45 minutes. We're chatting on FaceTime Live.
Yeah, it was something weird.
We screen recorded it.
We screen recorded it. We did screen record it.
We screen recorded it. And then when we watched it back, we was just like, yo, there's no audio. We was there chatting to each other. Chatting to each other, yo.
Like, it was a really good one. Like, you remember when we did it first we did it first at the spot you was at with all the dance. Blacker was there.
Yes,
Yeah, Blacker was there. And Blacker was like, everybody was like, yo, we're listening to this. Like, yo, this is fun.
Yo, for real. And we're just going over the topic that we, you know, because we already built out topics and what we'll talk about.
Right.
So, again, like, there's works, y'all. Like, Dear Creators, you know, look out for that. That's something that, you know, we're still, hopefully we can do. But there's so much other works out there. And, you know, Mega, I wasn't introduced to you. We met on a boat ride, Soca Viver, DJ Steven's boat ride. Yeah.
Steven boat ride.
And after that, it's just been like...
Yeah, it's been vibes. It's been real vibes.
It's just been vibes after that. And you're definitely somebody that I feel that I can call and either just brainstorm with. Mega, can you help me out with this? Like... You're never a person that I would hesitate to even think about asking those things.
Right, same way, same speed, yeah.
So it's definitely like as you do your works, you know, it's for me it's like a win because I'm just like we recently met and I'm not like 3 years ago I would say I don't know how long ago.
Yeah, it's been like 3 years.
It's been like it's been a little minute.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just been nothing but love, support from that, you know. You would come to my parties, even if it's just you, and just be like, you're here. You know, even if you had gigs for the night, pass through real quick and show love. And, you know, I just appreciate that, bro, so much.
Yeah, of course. And same way with me. When I had Sean versus Mega, you was trying to pop out and get tickets and sell tickets.
Bro, and and that too. Let's talk about that because you're one of the few DJs that will call me and be like, yo, you trying to make some money, trying to sell some tickets? And I'm like, yeah, let's get it. Yeah. Like, this man has put money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's always one link, and then, you know, All I'm gonna say now is whistles and lighters. Just stay tuned for that.
Just stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. Whistles and lighters.
Yes. But let's get into it. We here to talk about Mega, but we want to start off. I'm gonna start off with Sean. And basically you growing up, and what was your community like? Where did you grow up at?
Well, I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. Family of Trinidadian heritage and Jamaican heritage. So, it was reggae music on the weekends when you're doing your chores and eating and stuff like that. I was actually I owe, I guess, my musical knowledge, especially to like my grandparents, my grandmother on my father's side. Like, we wasn't allowed to listen to like music or watch TV because that was like the devil's work. So I kind of had to like dig and search and find for like my own like little music collection and stuff like that. And then my mother and my father, like, they forbade me from listening to hip hop until I was like a teenager.
What?
So yeah, I wasn't allowed to listen to like all the current music until I was like a teenager. So them time it was really just like reggae music and Michael Jackson. That was it.
Wow.
It was reggae music and Michael Jackson. That's all I was listening to until I was like 17, 18 years old. I tell people this all the time. The first like album that I bought with my own money was Jay-Z's The Black Album, and that was supposed to be Jay-Z's last album.
Oh shoot.
You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
So like musically, like I've always been brought up as like an old soul. So like that's really like my musical upbringing.
Got
It's
you.
just I was always brought up on things from like way before my time. Like
Got
music
you.
from the 60s up until like the 80s. It's
Nice.
like I was like really. That's how I really formulated my musical knowledge.
Got you. So in the house was you said that was there any? Do you have any siblings?
I have one brother, yeah.
Okay, and was he in that kind of influence as far as like you musically?
Not really. I think that he didn't really take to the music as much as I did. And I think it's
Okay.
also because I was just really much like I was kind of like the black sheep of the family because I was so quiet. I was a very quiet person. I was also very intellectual.
Okay.
So like I kind of just absorbed a lot of music, and I always tell a story. So my mother was working at 60 Precinct in Coney Island, and then my father was working in Brooklyn. So I would go to this daycare center in East New York, and my father would drive me over to my mother in Coney Island, and then my mother would drive us back home into Brooklyn. And so in my father's car on the way to Coney Island, we listened to nothing but Sanchez, Glenn Washington,
Nice.
Barris Hammond, that
Right,
kind of
that
stuff.
vibe.
On the way back, my mother driving us home now, and we listening to like Luther Vandross and Earth, Wind and Fire and Patti LaBelle and Anita Baker and stuff like that. So like, now imagine that back and forth, all of that for like years.
Yeah.
Years. And I remember I'm not listening to no hip hop until I'm a teenager.
Wow.
I had to sneak and listen to hip hop.
Wow.
I had to sneak and listen to certain dancehall songs.
So how did you have like an iPad or iPod or something?
No,
like
the thing is,
how did
when
you hide that?
when I went to high school, when I went to Benjamin Banneker Academy,
Okay.
my nickname, they called me, because I think this was when the iPod had first came out, my nickname was iPod, because I knew so many songs, because I knew so much music. And it's not like, oh, he just knows a lot of songs. Like, no, I knew like the bridge to the song. Like I knew every like vocal intonation like a singer would sing.
Not
like
iPod.
Yeah, I knew everything, like all the instruments. It's like I was just so very much attuned to music
Got you.
at such an early age.
Got you.
Yeah.
So, and your community-wise, where did you kind of grow up? And
I really grew up pretty isolated, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like I really stayed in my house
Got you.
until I was a teenager. Once I was a teenager, then I was really going around. And I tell people this all the time, like my family, there's a lot of Trinidadians that, they have this they're very bossy about being Trini. Like, you understand? They're very much like, God is a Trini.
you said it.
God is a Trini.
Yeah, and there's
them
a
kind of
song.
Trinis.
Yeah. Okay.
It have them kind of Trinidadians, but my family was just very humble. You know what I mean? They're very humble,
Nice.
very meek people. So like they didn't really take on like. Yeah, there was like cultural stuff, but we didn't really take it on and like wear it on our chest like, yeah, we here, we Trinidadians and stuff like that.
Got you.
It wasn't until I went into high school when I seen Jamaicans very prideful of who they was, Trinidadians prideful of who they was, Africans prideful of who they was,
Right.
Haitians prideful of who they was, because Benjamin Banneker Benjamin Banneker Academy has changed a lot, but when I was going there, it was very Afrocentric.
Wow.
It was very Afrocentric. Big up to one of the teachers, Miss Samuels. She used to teach history, and she had a thing called Africa Tours Club, where at the end of every year, she took her students to a different place in Africa.
Wow, that's dope.
Yes, it was super Afrocentric. So that's really where I kind of like established where like, yeah, I have this Trinidadian heritage, I have this Jamaican heritage, and, you know, and like let me like. It became something like very, very much important to me because there's like so many things that like I just didn't, not that I didn't know, but I didn't really like grasp the importance of when I was younger.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And then when I went to high school and I see everybody had like these similar experiences, it's like, and they were proud of it, you know what I mean? And they wore it on their chest, like.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? It was just very, very, very interesting in that time, and that's where like I really started to go out and start partying and dancing and stuff like that.
So would you say like you were into anything else like besides before getting into the music?
Anything creative I was into. Anything creative.
Got
I
you.
was singing, I was rapping, I was dancing, I was into fashion. I was just really much into any creative outlet. I was very much into it.
Right.
Very much into it.
Got you. So you was just kind of like all around like just into everything in high
Yeah,
school.
I was into everything. And my parents was kind of like,
you got to stick to one thing? Was
they
they like that?
They weren't hesitant towards me doing all these things, but they were kind of just like, I didn't know kind of what I wanted to do with my life. Because I was into X, Y, and Z and all kind of things, right? So they were kind of a little nervous for me coming out of high school because it's like, at first I went to FIT for high school. I went to study men's fashion for 2 years.
Okay, lit.
And then I went and transferred over into poetry, and then I made my name in poetry.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was just like, I've always just been dibbling and dabbling.
That's it. And it's kind of good that they were worried, but they let you do you and kind of like figure that out in a sense. Like,
especially my father.
Nice.
My mother would be the one to be like, you need to go and get a job. But like my father was he just let me be free, let you know, go and find yourself. You know?
Got you. So now talking about other hobbies and getting into poetry, was that something that you kind of always wanted to do and something that came naturally, or was it something that you throughout the years of, you know, being in school kind of like grasped and like took on?
So this is how I got into poetry. My best friend in high school, his name was Ishmael, and he was a poet, and he was a part of this program called Urban Word NYC. I don't know if you're familiar with Urban Word.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, so it was like a big spoken word program for like teenagers, right? And so he was a part of that. And then what happened was when I went to FIT, I was staying in the dorm rooms at FIT. And the Urban Word office was directly next to the dorms.
Got you.
So in order to spend time with my best friend, I would go over to Urban Word NYC because it was like literally like down the block.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that's when I really started getting into the poetry scene and the poetry world. So that's really how that started. And then I kind of just made a name for myself doing poetry because I've always been like a writer and stuff like that. And I don't know, even in the spoken word scene, I became very popular and very known. And then I transferred out of FIT, went into Brooklyn College to study creative writing. That's how much I took into poetry.
Nice.
So I studied it at Brooklyn College, got my bachelor's there. Nice. And then I went to NYU and got my master's in poetry. So yeah.
Woo! What y'all know? Y'all ain't know all of that. Who knew all of that? I knew all of that.
I know what you had.
No, that's lit. And for that wise, do you see yourself kind of like right now? I know with a lot going on. Is this something that you're still kind of into, or you still kind of dabble into?
Yeah, for sure.
Got you.
What I do, I plan to go to Tobago probably in the next 1-2 weeks, and you know, just to visit family. And
nice.
What I really want to do is like, you know, bring a couple of my favorite books with me and just get back into studying and get back into that vibe. Because for me, like DJing is like, it's a pursuit of like, there's a freedom associated with it. And with poetry now, it requires like a different side of my brain, I always say. And so that side of my brain hasn't really been activated in so long, and I miss that.
I remember you telling me that.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
so like,
yes.
That's what I'm really trying to strike that balance with myself mentally.
Okay,
so yeah, I really want to get back into doing poetry.
And you got me kind of low key. Remember, I was not really into poetry
right.
like that.
That's right.
And you gave me some tips, some pointers. I remember when we first. This is like, I don't know when it was, but you definitely gave me some tips. And, you know, sometimes I just find myself literally just writing and I get so excited because I'm like, this is that.
And you know what? When the quarantine first started, like the first like 2-3 months, I went back into writing poems.
Nice.
Yeah, bro, because I was like kind of slipping into, a little bad mental space. So I was trying to just write myself out of that.
Nice.
And I started getting all my sensibilities back about poetry.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good in a sense where if you're not DJing or, you get tired of you don't want to do that. You have another creative outlet where you can just you don't have to do too much. You can just literally sit and just write.
Right. Because one thing that I never lose sight of is that I never wanted, and not to say that DJing is bad and it's not, but I never wanted it to be the totality of who Sean Eric Divings is.
I feel you.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's getting and pretty so you see it now. It's getting to that point where it's when people look at me, they're just seeing BYFAR Mega. Mm-hmm. But there's so many other facets. Mm-hmm. When I tell people that, they're always so confused because they're they feel I had the world, the DJing world in the palm of my hands. You can just go and run with it, but it's there's so many. So many other different things that I think define me as a person.
Yeah.
And I never want to be confined to just one thing.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I'm really trying. Right now, I am working on Operation Disappear.
Okay.
I'm working on Operation Disappear, and I really don't want to be DJing for too much longer, honestly speaking.
Wow, got you. I mean, when we last spoke, sat down and really spoke, you were kind of giving me that same impression, and I don't know how it's we're talking right now. So from them time to now, the feeling is kind of still the same.
It's still the same because right now it's more about just curating experiences.
Right, right.
It's about creating some different kind of. I just got off the phone with a live band from St. Lucia. You understand what I'm saying? So right now it's just about, in terms of my events, it's just curating experiences. You know what I mean? I feel
definitely.
I feel honestly I could stop DJing today and I could feel great about what I did in Brooklyn, New York City.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I can feel great about what I did in Brooklyn, New York City. And I don't know, right now it's just of course, there's always these different challenges with DJs, which keeps me active and in it. But I definitely see there's a light at the end of the tunnel I'm trying to race towards right now.
I feel you. But before you race to that tunnel, let's get into the actual journey of, you starting DJing. We know Sean now. So let's get into Mega. So what was that first experience when you saw, what was that moment where you was just oh, this is cool. I need to learn and figure this out.
The first experience was actually, when I say this, a lot of people think I'm egotistical, but it's I walked into DJing being very good at it. So it actually happened through poetry. So because Urban Wood NYC, the executive director, he knew that I knew a lot of music. So he told me one day they were doing a poetry slam at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe in Manhattan, Lower East Side, and they needed a DJ. They usually had a house DJ to do the intermission between people's poems. So it was a first round of poems and then a little music intermission and then a second round. And he came to me and he said, you know a lot of music, so we want you to DJ the intermission for this slam, for this spoken word showcase. So it's at the New Eurekan. This is 2013, 2014, something like that.
Okay.
Them time I was working off an Acer laptop, a Windows laptop, and I didn't even have Serato.
Talk about equipment.
I didn't even have Serato. I had this program called Mix with 3 X's. It was MIXXX. Some
crazy
software, some craziness, right? Some craziness. So it reached over. We go to the New Eurekan. The first round of poets go on. Then it's the music intermission, 15 minutes. When I tell you, I'm just vibing, and everybody's vibing with the music. That was one of the highlights of the show outside of the poems. And so the next day I go up to Urban Word, and the executive director, his name is Michael Sorelli, and he comes to me and he's like, you have a gift for playing music. I was like, I do? I was like, I just knew a lot of music, and I just knew how to make it flow.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, he's like, this is something that you really should consider doing. So then we started making up we just started making up parties in Urban Word just for me to go and DJ.
And wow.
Yeah, we had an Urban Word prom, and I was the DJ. And then a lot of the poets, when they got older and then started going to colleges and stuff like that, I was they would bring me on to DJ at these colleges. So
the curation started from then.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So my friend Zora Howard, my friend Zoe Howard, she went to Yale, and then she brought me up to Yale. I was like a resident DJ at Yale University for a few years.
Ooh, nice. And what was that kind of experience like DJing in colleges?
That was dope. The college circuit was very dope because, you know, we all was all around the same age. And because I knew so much music, it was like I was handling those parties like really, really, really well. And, you know, just people just gravitated towards me. So it's like, it's people now in my parties who was at these Yale parties, who was at Johnson and Wales, Clark Atlanta, Brooklyn College, NYU.
Right.
You know what I mean? All of the college circuits, Penn State, all of the college circuits, like, that was like really dope coming up, and it was outside of the Brooklyn scene. It was outside of the Brooklyn scene, so it's kind of like I kind of like curated my own world within DJ.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I didn't really come up. I tell this to people all the time. I didn't really come up as a DJ in like the Brooklyn pantheon of DJs where it's like, oh, my father was this person and that made me become a DJ. Or I was a part of a sound system. You understand? Like I really came up like my own kind of unique kind of way.
Right. So now to talk about that, were there anybody that at the time you were being mentored by, or any like right hand man that, you know, you guys were kind of like sharing music, trying to figure it out together?
Well, then big Phenom, big up to Phenom.
Big up Phenom. I love Wednesday.
Yeah. Big up to Phenom, yeah. I think you should have him here for the DocuDJ.
I do. I definitely. No, I don't have him, but for next season, I got him. Don't worry. Do not worry.
No, Phenom has been my road dog in the DJ thing for a minute. And he was like my right hand man, you know what I mean? When my first gigs out in Yale University, he was there.
Nice.
And in terms of like mentors, I think we didn't really have mentors. Not until I went to Brooklyn College, and then I started linking up with this DJ named Selector Sean.
Okay.
Selector Sean was like one of my first mentors, but like the DJs who I looked up to, we and him both, we looked up to a DJ named Super Duper Humble.
Okay.
Super Duper, he was just this like he was like a dope DJ, and like the reason like we kind of gravitated towards him because like he was so very like relatable. Like he was like one of the few DJs like in the scene that I really felt was like relatable, that was very down to earth, but then he had like this very wide extent of musical knowledge.
Okay.
So yeah, Super Duper Humble, he was the DJ that I looked up to.
Okay, nice. Like, is there any, as far as like DJs at that time that you saw and was just like not even just a uplook, but it's just like if it was a session, like any like old school in a sense, like any session that you can have with an individual, was it like a person that you kind of looked up to like that? Like not somebody in your community, but somebody like outside of that?
Somebody outside of that, like somebody who I would like go to their parties just to see their set.
Or even if not even go to the parties, but like, you know, influence as far as like, it could be like somebody that's in JA or any outside, not really somebody that you can kind of connect to or get to.
Now, when I first started, I mean, of course, Super Duper, and then when I started getting into soca music, I had Chinese laundry DJs, these DJs from Trinidad.
Okay.
These have these old cassette tapes, like wicked bad cassette tapes of them, like dub plates and stuff like that. Them time that I didn't even know that Trinidadians could be like DJs and stuff. Cause remember, like I wasn't really taking on me being Trinidadian. It was just it was there. It was a part of me. Like I had this weird last name, DeVings. You understand? But it's like I just thought I just had a weird last name. You know what I mean? I didn't really take it on like that. But like I had Chinese laundry.
Okay.
I know I used to listen to those cassettes. And then, but in terms of like when I first started getting into like the soca world, it was like, who was this? Pansion Vibes. This is back when Rigo was just an MC. He wasn't even DJing. There's Pansion Vibes, Elegant Sounds.
Okay.
Elegant Sounds was like my favorite like DJs. They were just very, very consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the DJs I really looked up to.
Nice.
And Kevin Crown. Kevin Crown.
Big
So
up, yeah.
Kevin Crown used to DJ at this space called Club Rebel in the city. I think it was every Friday or every Saturday. It was one of them days. And I used to, and this is back when I was in FRT, like I used to, this is kind of why I transferred out of FRT, because instead of me doing my work and stitching clothes together, I was going to Club Rebel and I was watching Kevin Crown perform, because he would like DJ for like 3-4 hours.
Okay.
Like, he was like the resident DJ.
Nice.
He would DJ for like 3-4 hours.
Nice.
And I would just sit there and like, wow.
Nice.
Like, because he's like playing the song that like I grew up to. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like everybody in the spot is just like vibing and just holding a strong vibes. And like I always, Kevin Crown, Pantrin Vibes, Elegant Sounds, them three for sure. Okay. Especially when it came down to soca.
So would you say like, okay, when you first started DJing, first of all, what was your first thing you kind of DJ'd on? What equipment do you remember?
A Numark Mix Track Pro.
Okay.
A Numark Mix Track Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Them days I was wearing Mishka. Big up to Mishka. We was under the
big up.
We was under the J train all the time. We was used to do parties on the train stations all the time.
Yeah,
all the event spaces.
Wow.
Under the train stations, that's what we was doing all the parties.
I probably went to one of y'all parties and didn't even know.
Probably.
Yo, but I do want to bring up, okay, now when you started throwing parties.
Right.
And you told me this story about you. Oh my gosh.
About me losing the money?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I always think about that story anytime I'm doing something. I'm like, where the bag with the money at?
Yeah. So these times, so now we getting into the thicker things, right? This is 2015, 16, around that time, right?
Uh-huh.
And now I'm being known for throwing events.
Okay.
On top of DJing.
On top
so now
of DJing.
I'm being known for throwing events.
Got you.
Everything goes back to poetry. So backstory before the real story.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of poetry clubs all throughout Manhattan. New Eurekan Poets Cafe, Bar 13, Bowery Poetry Club.
Uh-huh.
At Bowery Poetry Club, the owner of Bowery Poetry Club was Bob Holman. And he knew that I was a DJ.
Uh-huh.
And he liked my poetry so much, he let me do parties at the Bowery Poetry Club. And I didn't have to pay anything.
Okay.
So that's how I started like throwing parties and started getting my business mindset.
Got you.
So like, I started to become known more and more and more for throwing parties.
Right,
especially
right.
in my scene. And
Got
especially
you.
for the poets in my scene too. So they kind of knew like, yo, that poet right there, he's the one who have all the lit parties.
Right.
So we got to a point where we were so big-headed, right? And we was like, you know what? We're not going to do no parties in Brooklyn. Even though our base is in Brooklyn, we're going to go up to Harlem and do a party.
Uh-huh.
We're going to go to that. I was like, we that bad? We can bring our following from Brooklyn
Anywhere.
into Harlem,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody around us was telling us, oh, nah, don't do it.
Uh-huh.
It's not going to work. But when I tell you, when that party was ram, party was real vibes. The party was vibes, right? And so we're in Harlem and the party vibe. We vibes and vibes and vibes and vibes.
Uh-huh.
End of the party come, fight break out. Big fight break out. All of us like just leave out of the party. We leave out of the party. And them time there, it wasn't no Uber. We was just taking the train, right?
Oh.
So we on the train. It's me and all my business partners. And we're like, wait a minute. Wait. Where's the money? We're like, wait, where's the... And it was like, I know we didn't leave that money back in that space, yo.
Oh my God.
I'm like, yo, I know we did not leave
So
that
y'all
money.
in the Uber.
No, we're in the train.
I mean, on the train,
There's
sorry.
no Uber this time. It's
It's
no Uber.
my bad.
It's no Uber this time.
train.
We left it, yeah.
Coming from Harlem.
Yeah, so we
Not
go
your
back.
hood.
We go back, and we knock on the door, and there's no answer. And we think like the owner probably just run off with the money, right? We made real money that day too.
Yo.
We made real money that day too.
I can't even fathom, but you definitely told me that story, and it
But
literally like
Yeah, we
scarred
used to
me.
be really connected into like a lot of like, you know, gang culture and whatever like that.
Got
So
you,
a lot of my
got you.
parties used to end in fights. And I had to like wisen up and smarten up and
I
like
feel
you know, starting to do things in a little bit more of a professional manner.
I
after
feel
that.
you. That's it. So I want to go into the big bod name, BYFAR Mega, because it's like, where did you come up with this name? And I love the story behind it because, you know, all day, every day.
Yeah.
So, let us know, how did you come up with the name BYFAR Mega?
So I was always known as Mega. It's kind of like an oxymoron because I was so small and I was always doing big things.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? So that's really kind of how Mega came up. And then BYFAR came about because when I was younger, like I told you, I was always growing up on like all the music. So
Right.
one of my favorite songs was Pony Printer by Panhead.
Uh-huh.
Like, Gallon at the Pony Printer. I need a gallon at the battery rider.
BYFAR.
Right. I used to always sing that BYFAR part, right? And so like, I was like, you know what? I'm putting BYFAR and everything.
Uh-huh.
And then I was telling you, Super Duper Humble was my favorite DJ.
Uh-huh.
And he used to put out these promo mixes and these mixtapes. And he had this sound drop of Barrington Levy saying, ooh, wow.
Uh-huh.
That one from Living Dangerously, the song
Uh-huh.
Living Dangerously. So he had that sound. He always had that sound sample, and it was like catchy. It was catchy. So I was like, you know what? I need a catchy sound sample that people can gravitate towards. You know what I mean? And that's how the whole BYFAR as a chant, came about. So that's I just kind of put it together and put BYFAR Mega.
Got you. And then now for your tag, because you hear it on every. If you step in the building, if you hear. We about to run them by. You already know what's about to happen. You already know who's on the set. You already know somebody is coming to, BYFAR is here.
Right.
Literally that. So I think that's dope that you curated that too as well to stand out, because a lot of DJs don't do that. And I think for one, me coming up and in the scene now, that's something I've definitely thought about as far as like, I want to stand out and I want something that, sounds like that, but, is authentic to what I am and what I'm doing. So DJs, I just feel like that's something that, a lot of you upcoming ones, that's something you should think about too as well. Not just your regular attack. Get creative with it.
Yeah, I always thought about my brand, and I think I've thought about it from necessity because I didn't really have, like I told you, like I don't have no family in the party scene. I didn't come up on a sound system, so it was like I really had to make my name and build my name. Right. And that is really about branding and like how do you promote yourself? How do you put yourself out there?
Yes.
And you know what I mean? Thankfully, it's paid off.
Lit. Nah, I'm happy for you, bro. Definitely. I want to talk about now and go into the big BYFAR army and how that came about, and the team members. You have Cruiser, Phenom, you have Young Vibes, you have Blackout, you have who else
Selector JB.
JB as well, yes.
Matt the violinist.
Matt as well, yes. And
then a bunch of people behind the scenes helping us.
Big up.
Keeping it solid.
Nice. So how did all these individuals kind of come together? You already told me you and Phenom, came up.
Me and Phenom, that's one link.
Right.
Phenom was the one who told me this. Like he's like, yo, you need to create your own kind of movement, because every New Year's Eve, I would always go by his house. Every New Year's Eve, we would go by his house, and we would have like this long, or every year for like 5 years, we'd have this long conversation about what we wanted to do in the business, how we was gonna move forward, which parties we wanted to be placed on. We always had the vision.
Nice.
So I started BYFAR, and it was kind of just me doing that thing, just me doing it, just me like championing the name. And then I met Cruiser at this, and then around this time, this is around 2016, I was also known for like playing a lot of St. Lucian music. And so I used to get a lot of looks from like St. Lucian bands and stuff like that. And Labor Day 2016, there was a party called Colors that was put on by I'm blanking out on the name right now, on the name of the band. Anyhow, so there's a Lucian party called Colors.
Make up yourself if you watch it. Yeah,
right. So all before the party, like a week before the party, one of my brethren, he comes to me. He's like, yo, there's this guy. He's like a short fella. He's like 16, but he bad. He real bad, man. I'm like, all right, cool. So I reach into the party, and then I hear this short guy playing, and I'm like, yo, this guy play like me. Like he plays like just like me, and like his transitions was clean, his blends and everything was dope. And I was like, yo, what's your name? He's like, yo, I'm Cruiser. And after that, I was like, we made a link. And after that, I started bringing him around to Brooklyn College, because I used to DJ at Brooklyn College Radio, and I started bringing him around, and we would just stay in like the radio station, just DJing and practicing. And one day I just asked him, I was like, yo, I had this thing called BYFAR Army. Is this son I'm trying to build up the ground? You know what I mean? I would love for you to be like one of the first DJs with him. He was like, Cruiser is so nonchalant. So he was just like, all right, whatever.
Literally. I literally see him just like, okay.
He's so nonchalant. He was like, all right, cool, I'm whatever, I'm down. And then Young Vibes, I got Young Vibes in the army because we both was linked through DJ Castro. And I was in a group called Team Castro, which is like DJ Castro's promotional thing. And then that disbanded. And then I just brought Young Vibes along with me. Blackout is like, me and Blackout, we've just known each other for years, and we just had a strong, like that was just like, yo, bro, just come.
Right.
That was like, yo, bro, just come here. Matt was the same way because Blackout and Matt used to do a lot of colleges together. They used to do a lot of shows.
Okay.
When Matt would be the violinist, Blackout would be the DJ, and they would rock out.
Nice.
And like sometimes I would just pop in and just MC.
Okay.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? And so I remember I met up with Matt at the Barnes and Noble in 14th Street, Union Square. And like I had a meeting with him. I'm like, yo, I have this vision called Strings Attached. You know what I mean? It's like me, you, and Blackout. We actually like put like a real name to it. You understand what I'm saying? So like that's how that happened.
Nice. That was amazing. That was amazing. Like, and it's nothing like I've seen before as far as like DJ, MC, and you know a violinist. It's just like wow. Like what you guys created. That atmosphere is just like it can be done. Like you get what I'm saying? Like. It doesn't have to be each of us in our own lane doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I mean by like disappeared. I don't mean like disappear like, oh, I'm going to like, you're not going to hear from me. But it's just like there's so many different capacities that I want to like fill.
Yes.
In the scene. You
we
understand?
have to do our skit too, the skit that we talked about. It's so much work, yo. Oh my God.
There's a lot of work to do, yes.
So much. So would you see, what would you say, would it be considered BYFAR as far as like, would it be considered a sound or would it be like a big umbrella of like different creative pursuits? You would say
it's like an umbrella. I think it's like an umbrella. It's like a Def Jam. You know?
Okay.
It's like a Def Jam. It's like the early Def Jam. Like everybody coming. Even let me not even say it like that. It's more like how can I say? What is a good group to like? It's like a dojo. BYFAR is like a dojo.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, you go and BYFAR, you train. You keep your technique sharp, you keep your methods sharp, you learn new things, you know what I mean? Like, cause we always pushing each other and we always challenging each other. Like,
that's good.
A lot of times, let's say me and Cruiser on the same building, they don't book us together. They book Cruiser for one set and then they'll book me for a next set. This just happened too.
Wow.
So I hear Cruiser playing, right? And Cruiser, he doing some things and he's shelling and he's doing like little tricks and I'm like, okay. All right. Watch when I get on now. And then I go and I start to try to top it and just try to level up. So it's like we always had that friendly competition amongst each other to just push each other. So yeah, it's like a dojo. It's like you know what I mean. It's really like a camp where you just go and just hone your skills.
That's it. And what would you say is your overall kind of like goal? For the whole team and, not just within yourself, but what would you 10 years from now or 15 years from now see the BYFAR Army doing?
I mean, I've always preached individuality and I've always preached, staying away because, in this scene there's a lot of politics.
Yeah.
So like, when we say politics, we mean politics. You understand? So
yep.
What I always wanted to do is create something that the politics can't touch. That they can't touch. It's like you can't go around it. Like
woo, that's it.
You can't go around it. So like that's kind of really what I want to build. Like I look at like a team like Chromatic. You know, understand? Like Chromatic is like in terms of like team and like a crew. Like that is like my ideal standard.
Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah.
Like, they are beyond politics. They are just cultural. They are they are of the culture.
Right.
And that is what I want BYFAR Army to be. Essentially, is once you're of the culture, it's like they can't take that away from you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to build to a place where it's like it's nothing you can take away. It's a part of the culture.
Yes.
Every big event, BYFAR Army had to be there.
And you're doing that. Mm-hmm. You're definitely doing that. Would you say, is it like a tryout to get on the BYFAR team? Like if somebody wanted to join a team, like is it just a vibe that you got to fill out or others got to fill out, or is it like every year we have this thing where we like, well, how do you be a part of the BYFAR team?
It's a vibe. At the end of the day, all of the final decisions go through me.
Yeah.
But it's a vibe. It's just I have to catch. Or everybody in the army is I consider family. You know what I mean? It's not. And a lot of people I think get it kind of mixed up because a lot of DJs come up to me. It's like, oh, I want to join. You know what I mean? I want to be a part of it. And I was like. It doesn't really work that
like
way.
That.
It really doesn't work that way. Like
right.
every single person is like I have a genuine like family connection with them.
Nice.
You know what I mean? When my mother passed, Cruiser mother took me on as her son. Wow. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's like on that kind of vibes. Like we were really like a family.
Nice.
So like it really comes like if you want to join the army, it's like I really have to have a really certain unique kind of connection to you.
Got you. And y'all heard it there. So don't come up to Mega on some like, hey, I want to be a part of the army. If you're not vibes, you're not gonna be a part of it.
No. I mean, I appreciate it, and it's like it's real,
cool, right?
It's real talented DJs that like have been like considered. You know what I mean? It's real talented DJs that have come up to me and asked me.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? I think that they just don't know like the process of
right,
it.
right.
Like, it's not really. Of course, talent is involved, you know, but it's really more so just about my connection with the people.
Got you. Well, yeah. If y'all ain't know, y'all know now. We can't say, you know, I ain't teach y'all that. But, are you mentoring? Are you doing any mentoring? I mean, now you're saying that you're about to take a kind of hiatus from, you know, DJing. Would mentoring be something that you kind of would go into next?
Yeah. I mentor a lot of DJs like on the side. I don't really like to broadcast it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't really like to broadcast, but I do mentor a lot of DJs on the side, give them pointers, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, you know, come up to me for advice and stuff like that. I was doing this like virtual thing on IG called the BYFAR Academy, where it's like I kind of like broke down like a lot of like some of my techniques.
Yes.
Because if you notice on my SoundCloud, is like I have to be one of the most active DJs on SoundCloud when it comes to live recordings in Brooklyn. So like, and there's always like a method to the madness, and I like try to break down certain things, you know what I mean, for people so they can like really get like it's a logic to it, what he's doing. So like I have a thing called BYFAR Academy. If you check my Instagram highlights, you'll see like some of it, like I break down like how to mix in key, you know what I mean, how to blend music harmonically, how to think about different transitions as you go from one genre to the next. Nice. You know, and there's a whole set of things that like I kind of want to do and get off the ground, but I think I'll, you know, wait until I'm able to like develop it in a more, you know, in a more professional manner.
Would you do it here?
Yeah, I would do it here. I think that would be dope. That would be dope, yeah.
Because I'm like, that would be kind of dope to have those pointers. But I do remember you doing that about the keys. And for me, like, you know, it was kind of like, you know, you spoke to me about it. But then, you know, going through, you literally broke it down. Like, you really broke it down. And I was just like, you know, it's something for me to actually, like, do now technically. But it's, like, just having a little bit of insight.
Right.
Appreciate it, because DJs are not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially that particular thing as far as, like, keys. Like, some DJs don't even know what that is. You get what I'm saying?
And the reason why I started doing that really is because I noticed, like, there's, like, a big disconnect in terms of DJs, in terms of the communication between like the older generation and this generation that I'm in, and then the generation coming after me.
Right.
It's like a big disconnect. There's no I don't want to call name. There's no big name DJ reaching out that I see that's reaching out really to like, but like I am that person that's like, I kind of speak to I speak to all of these generations. You understand? Because like I kind of want to be that change.
Yes.
I want to be that change. It's like I don't want no, you know, teenage DJ coming looking at me and thinking that like I'm inaccessible in any kind of way. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, 10, 15 years down the line, you're going to be where I'm at. You understand? So it's like, why not, you know, give you the knowledge, give you the gems. Just like,
a
lot of people, a lot of DJs feel like threatened because like they feel like, oh, if I tell this person this, if I give this person music, they're going to take their spot. But as long as you're doing your thing, like your spot is always secure.
Yes.
At least that's just my opinion.
I agree. I definitely agree. And it's for me too as well. Like I have Janelle, she's learning how to DJ now too as well. And
nice.
She was with me 2 days ago, and you know, I'm lining up the song and I'm telling her like that, pay attention to that in a sense.
Right.
And she's been around some DJs, and you know, nobody's really telling you certain things. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they're not teaching you certain things, but it's certain important things that you should know, you know, about it. So I just feel like having us continue to just be open to teach is just something that a lot of DJs should just be open to.
Yeah, they should just be open to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very rare that you see that in the scene, especially with the older generation. And I always think about all of these big name DJs, boy, and I'm like, yo, if y'all were to just, instead of you guys criticizing the way how, you know, the younger people and them playing the music now, it's like, yo, if you built up a camp, if you built up your own little crew, and you gave them the pointers of how to juggle, how to blend music, how to play music. You know what I mean?
You
know what
get
I mean?
me?
The next gen, but again, it's like they feel threatened, and so it's like I see a disconnect now with like the younger DJs. Like they don't care about.
They don't care.
They don't care that you're this person and that person, and you round out Crystal Manor in 2011. Crystal Manor not even here no more, dog. Crystal Manor not even
You
here
don't
no more,
have
dog.
that booking no more.
Yeah, they don't have that no more. They're going to you like, yo, we're selling out Amazura. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like,
right.
And that disconnect is like what has created so many different kind of scenes.
That's true.
Yeah, there's like so many different little pockets of scenes.
Yeah.
In the New York City area, and I'm just thankful as like I've been able to reach into like virtually every single one of them and be notable. So.
Right. Nice. That's definitely you. Yeah, I could definitely say that. But as far as somebody that, you the balance between the poetry, DJing, curating your own events.
Right.
Now your events be selling like freaking Teflon bags. Like it's literally like, bruh, like can I? Okay, cause
wait, you know about my events?
What? Bruh, so that's why now I'm saying this right now. I need to be on some exclusive list. I don't know what list. I don't know if you have a list. Who do I talk to? I don't want to talk to you because you are busy. Send me a manager, assistant, whoever you are. We're going to link up after this because there's no way that I'm not I'm not getting into that party. You got me.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, like I've been the same this story, the timeline of BYFAR Mega DJing is also the timeline of BYFAR Mega throwing events.
Exactly.
Like I've always done both at the same time.
Right.
So as big as my DJing reputation has gotten, that's how big the reputation has gotten with me doing events at the same time. So that's really what has been responsible for the turnout.
Right.
Yeah, I'm beyond blessed.
Yeah.
I never thought it would reach into that level though. I was always just satisfied with, I'll just have my, I have my little premiere events for my crowd.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But now it's like everybody wants to come now.
And you've learned that when recently somebody was kind of shutting down your events.
Yeah.
And, you took it to Connecticut.
Yeah,
you
I took it to Connecticut, and there's hundreds of people in Connecticut. And I said, wow.
I could do this anywhere.
Yeah, and like one of my mentors back to basics, he was telling me like, yo.
Big up.
Yeah, he was like, yo, it's real, man. I've been DJing 25 years. I can't even do what you just did.
Yo.
In terms of bringing people into CT. So.
Yo, for real. It's not like it was people traveled, if y'all don't understand. Like, people literally left New York and was just like, he's going there, so I'm going there.
Yeah.
Crazy. And big up yourself for that.
Look out for Sean vs. Mega, February 2022.
Hey.
Look out for that. We're calling that the big payback. Just watch that.
Lit. So with your career now, you've been able to travel and go to different states, different countries. And you talk about me, but we not talking about me. And
we're not even gonna get into that. We're not. Don't even do that on here. Don't even do that.
So being able to travel and those experiences, what is some of those experiences like? Just being in, what's the vibe like? You're not in New York anymore. You're overseas or you're out of the state. What are those vibes like when you do travel?
I mean, I'm so well traveled now. It's kind of like I don't really get much out of the travel experience. Like I'm always traveling for work.
Okay.
Even when I was doing poetry, I'm always traveling here and there. So I've been around the world twice over. You understand? So
got you.
When I'm traveling right now, it's really just for work. Now, when I go back to Trinidad, when I go on like my family visits or whatever, like that's when I like really get like a fullness. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So like that's like my time for quiet. That's like my time where it's like I don't even have to bring my laptop.
You know
nice. I don't have to bring my laptop. I just have to I just have to bring myself, and my Aunt Ruth is cooking up a nice plate of food for me. You understand? And it's really that kind of vibe. But in terms of like the traveling, is like I really just think of it as like it's just really part of the job.
Got you.
It's
got
really
you.
part of the job.
Have there been any experiences a part of the job where outside of that you were able to experience something new and like a new culture, or like anything that you kind of look forward to? Like everybody wants to travel within their career, you know, Is there any places that you've been to where it was just like the experience was something you kind of always wanted to, experience?
I mean, there was the time in St. Lucia 2 years ago when I almost missed the boat ride and I had to take a little small boat to get to the big boat. That was different.
When you say the boat not leaving me, this is that. This is exactly how that looks.
And that thing went viral too. Like, I missed the boat ride because I was staying in this like real far part in St. Lucia, away from everybody. And we was trying to get a taxi down into the main part of St. Lucia to reach to the boat ride. No taxis coming up, so I had to go and find a little speedboat, and that was
crazy, yo.
And mind you, the man taking a shell, and he like, cause there's water coming into the boat now, and he taking a shell and he
scooping it out
and scooping it out. Like, it would. That was definitely an experience for sure. That was an experience. Big up to St. Lucia. I get a lot of love in Lucia.
Big up
to St. Lucia.
Is there any places that you want to kind of touch, with the pandemic?
Grenada.
I knew it.
Before the quarantine, I was booked for Spice Mass, and I am so upset. Before the quarantine, we had Grenada lined up, Grenada, St. Vincent, and Barbados. We was gonna do all of them like kind of concurrently, like it was gonna be back to back to back. And because of the quarantine, we couldn't be able to do that. And like that really would have catapulted things into like stratosphere. Woo. Because I know me, and I know how I would have pushed me being in these countries.
Yeah.
That would have like catapulted me into like where I really wanted to be as a DJ. But you know what I mean? I think things happen for a reason.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? We slowly start to garner back,
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
I want my spot back in blood. Back in blood.
Oh gosh. No, but that's gonna happen. That's definitely going to happen. So as far as with the whole pandemic, what was it like for you? Not being able to, DJ and now have to virtually be on some of these, platforms and kind of deliver the same way in person.
It was so interesting. I think I was talking to you about it like earlier when it was happening. Where it was like there was like one of the popular catchphrases on the news was like essential workers, and I never felt so insignificant in my life because I'm like, yo, I'm a DJ, I play music, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to feel like what I do isn't worthwhile, or it doesn't have any value or anything like that.
Got you.
And you know what I mean? I don't know. I always felt I wasn't really feeling that quarantine. I wasn't really feeling that because I was struggling. I was struggling to like find my place in the world, because I no longer felt like I was doing something productive.
I feel you.
But then I had to reach back until it was really a lot of times when people was like, yo, I was really having a hard time. I was, whatever, I had family situation, whatever.
Right.
And, I just wanted to go out and, just forget about things. And like, you shouted me out on the mic when you was DJing, and that just made my whole day.
Wow.
And that just made me happy. And it's like, I had to like really call back into those moments and like I had to like rediscover like the value in what I do. Because I was really questioning like my value when the quarantine happened. Like it really had me questioning life. Like, what am I really doing with my life? But, thankfully we came out to that, and we came out to that and we pushed through.
Right, yeah. Definitely. So I want to go into now SoundCloud, because you are a curator, and you have your mixes like Encyclopedia, BYFAR 123, Full 100, Full, all these kind of theme mixes. Is there anything right now that you're working on to put out for your supporters?
Yeah, right now we're working on Too Toxic and Mood 2. So like during the quarantine, we was shacked up, and it was we was shacked up, and links was happening. Sneaky links was happening. That was the sneaky links era. So like I kind of like made like these two soundtracks, for the sneaky links. So it was like Toxic was the R&B, and then Mood was the music, was the dancehall. So I'm working on
the sweetness.
Yeah, I'm working on part 2 of that.
I'm excited. Yeah. Mood is definitely a mix that I resonate with as somebody who represents for Gal Time Entertainment. It was a breath of fresh air, because it was a mood. Like it was really on that
It was
level. You know what I'm
literally a
saying?
mood. Yeah,
Like it was
literally a
like
mood.
no going all over the place. We
Right,
here.
yeah,
This
it
the
was that one
mood we
mood.
sticking to.
Right.
So amazing mix. You know, I can't wait to hear the second one. I'm excited. And you know,
I remember when I first made the mix, I'm like, yo, I remember I was telling us, yo, Nikki, yo, this one.
you said this to me before.
I was like, yo,
dropped it.
Nikki. I was like, yo, Nikki, this one, I was like, yo, Nikki, you're going to love this mix. You're
And
going
I
to
was
love
like,
it.
why would you do this to me?
I was like, yo, Nikki, you're going to love this mix. I already knew that fact. I was like, you're going to love this mix.
You definitely did. And I was just like I said, you know, I appreciate it. Appreciate you, you know, reaching out to me too, and you know, in some form, little form, whether it's just like that one question, you know, that we can be open to each other.
Because you know, I always like outside of, you know, when I had met you in Miami and like you already know the vibes, but it's like I always like just respected you. You know what I mean? Like, I always just respected you, and then the more we talked and the more we conversed, it was just like respect just continues to grow.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So before we get into anything else, I definitely want to get into you know, the big question that I always ask is, you know, something that you've seen on the DJ scene from, you know, when you coming up to now, something that you would like to see change within, you know, the community, whether you change it or not, but just something that you would like to see change in the community.
Well, I would like to see, I think that it's really just the law of, it's really just a statistical law. Is like, you know, the real will persevere and like stand out. What I'm seeing is what I see in the scene is oversaturation right now.
Okay.
It's just an oversaturation of events, an oversaturation of parties, an oversaturation of DJs. You know what I mean? And I would like to get it to a point where, you know what I mean, some of that gets truncated now.
Yeah.
And it gets, you know, we shave it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just all over the place. People just doing events to do events.
I agree.
People just being outside just to be outside.
I agree.
It's no more meaningfulness to parties. There's no more meaningfulness to parties.
Yeah.
Everything is just like, you're just outside for the sake of being outside. Nobody trying to curate things that's like creating a lasting memory. Like, it used to be a thing to like, you are going and get dressed up to go to like a Gallus Kids thing.
Yeah.
Like, to go to like a Gallus Kids thing in like Coney Island. What is this like? We just there for that we just there for that vibe. But they were like the only people with that vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was fine. Like, we was okay with that.
Yeah.
We were perfectly okay with that. But now everybody wants to be the vibe. Everybody wants to be the vibe.
Yep.
And I just want to get back to a point where it's like, we just go here and this is where the vibes is for like, and like we're good with that just being the vibe. Like, you don't have to go to a place and think like, oh, I could do this, and then go and just try and do something.
Because
like,
I feel like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're literally saying, I can do this and go doing it. And it's just like.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, that's why I respect Gal Time. It's like y'all have an identity. You understand? Y'all have an identity. Y'all have something that y'all are, you know, putting forth. Like, you're putting forth something productive into the scene.
Right.
And what I see now is just people we just slapping a name on like a Friday or Tuesday weekly, and we calling it a lit party. And people just outside to be outside. So I just want the meaningfulness to come back into events. That's what I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, let's get back to it. Let's get back to the authenticity. You see me? I can't even speak. But let's just get back to it, the realness of those events. And like you said, like, you know, those weeding out those that are just like throwing events just to throw events and, you know, making money. But, you know,
I would never stop a man food or a woman food, right?
But at the same time, just understand that this is a community that is, for us, it means a lot. It's not something we're just doing for money. We're trying to curate experiences.
And I think a lot of people get that confused. It's like, I mean, of course I make good money doing it.
Right.
It's like, I really don't do this for money. I really do not. I don't care. I've never been a money person. I don't care for money. I don't care for money. I care for the vibes and I care for the experience.
Yep.
And I think that's why people gravitate towards my events so much as well. It's like I really curate like a good experience for people.
Yeah, I do. I do. You do. You did that. Like your parties are, for me too. It's like, you know, people that throw a lot of parties, but it's like, even when I do go to your events, it's something different. Like, it's like, even with the theme of it, or, you know, the collaboration sometimes, it's just like, oh, wow. Like, I'm thinking something that I might expect, but it's still like throws me off in a sense.
Right.
It's just like, wow, like I didn't even expect that.
Like even when I did Sean vs. Mega in Juve, you know what I mean? When I booked El Bully and I booked El Bully and Crump. Big up to El Bully and Crump.
Yeah.
People was like, huh? Like my broker card was like that. I was like, nah, I'm gonna give y'all a different experience because like I'm a well-traveled DJ. I have DJ friends all over. Big up to El Bully. Big up to Crump and the you know what I mean. Big up to all my crews out in the Bronx and Queens, all my DJ friends and stuff like that. So it's like I always want to bring something different for people.
Yes.
Even me bringing out Chromatic to New York City. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't. A lot of promoters, you know what I mean, they see their price and then be like, oh, I'm not paying that. I'm like, nah, I'm going to bring Chromatic for my crowd. Like, this is what my crowd listen to.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm going to bring that for you.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope. And I hope that a lot of DJs watching this just know that, if you're into that curation of parties, let's make it an experience and try to connect with people that's already doing it and try to kind of understand the logistics that goes into it and what we're trying to do as a community. We're not just trying to throw events. We're trying to create experiences for you to tell your kids and their kids to tell their kids, So once again, we here every Monday. Mega, big up yourself. Thank you for being a part. I appreciate it.
No. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Long overdue.
Long overdue. Y'all don't understand. It's long overdue. And this is the first of many. This is not something that, we're going to stop. You're going to see more. You're going to definitely just be a part of what we're going to do. You're going to want to be a part of what we do. So
we have a lot of things in store.
Just stay tuned. So once again, tell the people where they can follow you and get all your information.
Well, right now, if you want to be a part of the BYFAR Events Madness, if you want to be a part of all of that, if you want to be a part of the BYFAR Events Madness, just text. You can text BYFAR, BYFAR. Text BYFAR to 833-400-1153. 833-400-1153. Text BYFAR to that. Follow me on SoundCloud, Instagram, Twitter, BYFAR Mega. You know what I mean? And all the vibes is there. All of
that good information. Thank you again for being here, all the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're more than halfway through the second season, so thank you for sticking with me. Make sure you watch those past episodes on YouTube. We're here next week Monday again with Lady Drea.
One of my favorites. She's one of my favorite DJs.
Yes. Drea has definitely she's just an inspiration, and for somebody in just getting into it now, she's somebody that I highly, highly respect.
Yeah, she did a set on my Shot O'Clock boat ride, and people to this day still talk about that set. The Shot O'Clock boat ride.
So
was you there?
I was at the.
You was at the BYFAR on a boat.
On a boat.
You wasn't at the Shot O'Clock.
I wasn't at Shot O'Clock. Because you know why? Because
right.
I didn't get a ticket. Manager's assistant that's watching this right now. Don't worry. You're going to save my number because I'm not talking to him no more. I'm talking to you because I don't want to bother you. You be doing way too much. But once again, you guys, thank you again for being here, for tuning in with me. I'm your girl, Nikki Anticss. Follow me on Instagram, SoundCloud. Anything you could think of, I'm on there. Linktree, everything. So once again, we'll be here next week, Monday, 7:30. Big up my Rise Radio family. Elvin, big up yourself. Thank you. Mariah, big up yourself. Appreciate you, Janelle. Big up yourself. I appreciate my team. Couldn't do it without y'all. Once again, next week, Monday, we going to be here. We going to rock out. Let's go. What's the vibe like?
BYFAR.
Hey, bye.
Man say he playing music today. You playing music today. All right, though. Welcome to the Shot O'Clock Bar Ride. Everybody walk on with a shot right now. Shout out to everybody, right? Early vibes inside of the boat.